Welcome to the Warning Track Power Hour. I'm Andrew Scaff. He's Mike Werman. He's a medieval historian. I'm a biochemist. Mike, are you ready for our NFL Super Bowl betting extravaganza episode?
Yes, I'm very ready. I'm excited. I am bursting out of my sweater, and it's just going to be. I'm very excited for the game. I am less nervous than last year because the Chiefs they've won a Super Bowl and they won one last year, and I'm pretty confident that they will probably win this year. So I just don't want to be overconfident and have that ruin my bets. But if they win, and I think they will, it'll be extra fun.
The bets will hopefully enhance your enjoyment of the
I suppose so.
game.
I don't know if I'll keep track as closely as compare. I'll keep track of the scores and things like that, but I don't know if I'll pay attention as much to some of the minor ones that we're going to be doing. I will try not to let that the ups and downs of those bets get in the way of the ups and downs of the actual game. But I think you and I are both going to bet not just on the game as we think it will be, but also on the game as we hope it will be. Not that those are necessarily those are the same in this case. I don't think necessarily, even if we weren't Chiefs fans, I think we would both bet on Kansas City, just judging by their success. And I think neither of us is kind of spooked by the aura of Tom Brady. I think he's been more fortunate and on several kind of lucky teams in his career. So-called greatest of all time or whatever. I don't think that's a reasonable argument about Brady the quarterback. Even though that's they'll say it's what the NFL pundits will say, because yes, he's got rings, which he's not. Brady's not better than Peyton Manning was as a quarterback. I don't think. He's not in.
If the only judge is titles, then
the only judge is titles, and 3 of those titles he won with, 4 of those games he didn't have to do anything really. Right. The first 3 were in the first 5 years of his career, and also the Rams win when basically nothing happened on offense. He had 2 really good offensive games. He lost 3 games, so he's kind of 2 and 3 in his big offensive games. He lost 2 to the Giants. He lost 1 to Philadelphia. Perhaps his best performance, at least statistically, in the Super Bowl when he threw over 500 yards. So, and then he won against. Wait, did I add those right? Maybe he's only. Yeah, so he won. He beat beating Atlanta, beating. What was the other game? I can't remember, but Philadelphia, maybe. No matter. We're off the rails already.
Yes.
We're running down Tom Brady memory lane. But I think Mahomes. I think the Chiefs have a good shot of winning. They already beat Tampa in Tampa, and that game could have been much, much worse than it ended up being. And I think the reason for it wasn't because Tampa kind of figured out the Chiefs, but because the Chiefs sort of let their foot off the gas, and also Tampa got quite a few fortunate breaks to make it that close. So, and the Chiefs had the ball at the end; they could have scored more. So, anyway.
They tended to seem like they thought there was any chance they might see this team again, and they don't really want to show them a whole lot either. So once they've proven that they can win the game, and we're not going to show them anything new.
Yeah, regular season Andy Reid, regular season Mahomes. As we'll talk about Tyreek Hill in his huge game against Tampa Bay. I think it's very unlikely he will have 260 something yards receiving, but I still don't think the Buccaneers have much of an answer.
Yeah, will he be on pace for 1,000 yards at any point in the game? That should be one of the bets we have.
Well, if he gets the first reception, we'll talk maybe about his first reception as well. Okay. Yeah. So the way we're going to do this, we've been the last couple of weeks we've been betting on the each of the playoff games and some other bets that go along with them, some prop bets. Super Bowl, of course, is the game of all, the king of all prop bets. There are hundreds and hundreds of them at the various sports books and the casinos and the various websites. And we've selected some of these that we want to, I think, work on together. We might also have some individual ones that we think are fun by themselves. But first, we'll go through the more conventional spread and over/under. On the other games that we've been doing through the playoffs, we're betting $100 total on the spread and over/under. Because it's the Super Bowl, we're going to do $200 on
fake dollars.
Fake dollars on the over/under. Yeah, we're both up in the fake dollar count. We each have a couple of $100 that we've won.
Yeah, you're plus 290. I think I'm plus 240.
Plus 240.
Through our 2 weeks.
Through our 2 weeks, and so we've done $1,000 so far in those 2 weeks, and we're going to do $1,000 fake dollars this game. And to show that we're serious, we're going to do $200 on the spread and the over/under. Kansas City depends on where you look, but a lot of the books you can find Chiefs 3.5 or 3. We'll do the minus Chiefs -3, and we'll also do the Chiefs and the over/under on the Chiefs Buccaneers will be 56 points. Andrew, do you know how you're gonna handle that, or how would you split your $200?
Yeah, so I'm pretty confident in the Chiefs right now, and so I think I'm gonna have mine split pretty heavily towards the line, and then only some on the over. So I think we should. Do we have to put money on both? I think we should have to put money on both.
Okay, I was thinking that too, because if I would probably just do it all on the line, because I think the Chiefs, if I'm very confident. Again, if it's only 3 points, I think the Chiefs would win by 3 or more. This is one of those things where if you think the Tampa is going to win, you should just bet probably Tampa money line rather than the spread, because most of the Super Bowl winners cover the spread. They win and cover, and B, this is only 3 points, so it's a small.
It's an even 3, and not a 2.5 or a 3.5.
Yeah, 2.5, 3.5. There's no hook, like they say.
So push option is in the mix, at least.
So we could get our money back.
And that was a difference in the regular season game. So
it was, and of course the Chiefs certainly do not play to cover. That's something that, especially during the regular season, they are not. They did not cover most of their games, so that's always
they had a losing record on the season against the spread.
Yeah, I think also the books overvalued the Chiefs in part because the public wants to bet on the Chiefs because they're fun and exciting. But I think also, as I said, there's regular season Chiefs and there's playoff Chiefs, and the playoff Chiefs tend to, they play harder. At least they play harder for longer, especially once if they get a lead. And I don't think Reed will want the Chiefs to kind of let up because of Tom Brady on the other side, and there's. He despite what I might think of him as not being as great as some people say, but he is a one of the top 10 quarterbacks of all time probably.
Yeah. Number one by titles, if that's the only.
Number one by titles, so that's all you care about. Yeah,
that's the deciding factor.
If it were, that means Barry Sanders, of course, is not anywhere near the top running backs.
Not even on the list.
Not even on the list.
Never won the Super Bowl. So. Yeah.
It's his fault he got drafted by the Detroit Lions and never carried them to a Super Bowl championship.
Right. Yeah. His fault. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes perfect logical sense. Yeah. Dan Marino, horrible quarterback. Never won a Super Bowl.
Not alone. There are up to 54 other quarterbacks that are above him. Then
Brad Johnson. Jeff Hostetler.
Titles.
Superior.
Rings and rings.
Yeah,
no rings from Marino.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
But that does seem to be the criteria some analysts choose to put on.
Yeah, it is. It just falls apart on any sort of scrutiny. You know, I don't understand it. It's like you don't like. It's like football's the only sport where that really comes into play, and it's also the sport where an individual player probably has, maybe other than a quarterback, has the least influence on the game.
They do it with the NBA basketball a lot though too. Titles is like the defining metric a lot of times. So.
Yeah, NBA it is. We only have 5 players on the court at a time. You only have 12 people on the.
But it makes more sense in basketball than it does in football.
Yeah, it makes more sense in basketball and football. But yeah, in base, they don't say that in baseball. Like Ted Williams, Ernie Banks, they never won World Series, but they're great. Although lately, people talk about Derek Jeter and all the because he won so many World Series compared to A-Rod when he got on the team, they didn't win the World Series as much. And, so I don't like. I know we don't. Neither of us like that argument.
Well, none of our favorite players have more than one, so.
That's true. George Brett, Alex Gordon, all the Royals, all the Chiefs, Len Dawson. They each only have 1 Super Bowl ring.
But hopefully, after this weekend, we'll be able to say something different about that.
Yeah.
With one of our current favorite Chiefs players. Then, so.
Yeah, and the Royals were so close to having 2 in a row, and you would say none of those players are Hall of Fame players. Maybe Salvador Perez at some point.
Yeah. They may all be Royals Hall of Famers, but not likely to be Hall of Fame. Well, I don't know. There may not ever be any more people inducted to be Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the writers just say no. We're not going to let anybody else in because
that seems to be where it's going right now.
Well, this Hall of Fame class was pretty weak, but I still think Clemens and Bond, they're the great. No matter how much you think they cheated, they were
Schilling even.
They were still head and shoulders above their peers who were also probably doing the same things.
But no part of Major League Baseball history is without some kind of controversial something.
Yeah.
So every player did something that wasn't acceptable today by today's standards.
Well, and you have even if they didn't do something bad, you have the the exclusion of black players and things like that, where not every good player got a chance to play. And the competition was lower, so
right.
It's there's something you can poo-poo any era.
Like performance enhancing drugs have been part of the game for a very long time. Doctoring baseballs, part of the game for a long time. And that has not been legal for most.
I think it's part of the fun as well. It's kind of it has the colorful characters and things like that. Cheating is kind of exciting and funny. Again, this is not it's not like it's real. It's just it's entertainment. And you can't gamble on it and stuff like that, but it's one of those things where it's a soap opera. It's entertainment, and
fabric of the game.
Yeah, some of the greatest characters in literature or in theater or something like that are the villains, and I think
the ne'er-do-wells.
You have to remember that. Anyway, let's think about so let's go back to the spread and the over under. So I'll let you
do this one first.
Do this one first, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna split. Like I started letting anyway. Was that I will go pretty heavily on onto the Chiefs on the -3 side.
Chiefs -3.
I'm gonna put of the $200. I'm gonna put 175.
Ooh.
Chiefs -3.
And 25.
And I have not done that well with the over-unders. So I'm gonna put 25 on the. I'm gonna go with the over.
The over. Okay, 25 on over. So something like 56. If it happened to be 31-24, it would be under. 31-27 would be over. I could see either of those scores. I could also see the Chiefs I could see like a 41-14 game.
Mm-hmm.
That would also be under.
That would be under.
I could see. I was thinking as well. I was going to do at least 150 on the Chiefs -3. I was thinking maybe 160, or more.
I think we'd said
25.
25 is the minimum. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I went all the way to the minimum. On the other.
That was clever, sir.
Yeah.
I'm going to do. I'll do the same. I'll do 175 on the Chiefs -3, but I'll do 25 on the under. I'm going to do 25 on the under. I don't know if Tampa will score all that much. Of course, the last game that the Chiefs played against Tampa was 27-24. That would have been under. So I feel like the Chiefs are going to score a few more, and I think Tampa might score a few less. So I'd say maybe I'm thinking maybe more of a 34-20 game, which is
still under
score of the Chiefs-Ravens game in earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Might have been the score as well of the Chiefs-Texans game, the first game, if I remember right. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember now. But yeah, I'm going to slightly under just because, I want to be a little different from you.
Yeah.
I think 56 is a good number. I think 56 is a good number. These guys are the pros, and they know exactly probably where to put it. And as we know, those lines, they get so close. Is it a field goal at the end that pushes it over, or a kneel down that keeps it from happening? It's
a weird late safety somehow.
Yeah. Okay, so 175.
Run back, something, right? Yeah. Anything, yeah.
Again, of course, if the Chiefs only win by 1 or 2 or they lose, we'll be happy that the Chiefs won, but we'll be sad that we lost our $175 fake dollars. And Vegas will win it back because we were doing so well. And now, okay.
So should we move on to the next set of bets? I guess you're going to go first on this one then.
I will go first.
We're going to do over under passing yardage totals for the 2 quarterbacks in the game. We've got over under line of 295 yards, 295.5 yards for Brady, and the line of 325.5 yards for Mahomes.
And we're doing, I think, $100 total, you said?
So split it same kind of way.
As I haven't had good luck. We only did the one game. I did Brady and Rodgers. I think I said over for Brady, under for Rodgers, and that did not turn out well. That was the biggest whiff of my 2 weeks betting. So I'm a little gun shy on this. But of course, in the first game the Chiefs played against Tampa, Mahomes had 462 yards passing. He had almost 400 yards in the first half, if I remember right. Brady had 345 in that game. And if you think the Chiefs are going to be way ahead and the Buccaneers are going to try to come back, that could inflate Brady's passing yards.
Could keep Mahomes down too.
Keep Mahomes down because they started
running. Playing to keep their lead instead of trying to run it up, dude.
I want to. I 325.5 is the over here. We've seen as we talked before we started broadcasting. We've seen higher numbers from Mahomes. I think 331.5 some other places. So this seems like it seems like a good spot for an over from Mahomes. It's a little bit lower. And this is, I think, the DraftKings number. It's a little bit lower than I think I saw at William Hill for Mahomes. So I think it's good. I think I should take the over for 325. If I were betting under, I'd want to do the under 331.5 that I saw.
You think it's gonna be that close to the?
I don't know. If I were gonna do under, I'd want to get the highest number I could. If I were gonna do over, I'd want to get the lowest. That's all I meant.
Yes.
I don't want to middle it. I'm not gonna middle that. It's like
you go to both books. On one, you take the over, on the other, you take the under.
And then you'd win. I'd either break even and slightly lose money most of the time. Losing on the juice.
Or you're just that confident that it's going to be between those two, and you want to both.
329 exactly.
Yeah. That'd be a true gambler right there.
I'd have to, if Mahomes, third quarter he's got 329. I'd have to, really pray for some sort of bad mojo probably. So I'm going to go over 325.5 for Mahomes.
How much are you going to put on that one?
I'm going to 70 on over for Mahomes. I'm not as confident for Brady. I want Brady to be under, but I don't know if he will be under. but I think the Chiefs' defense will be better against Brady than they were in the first game. So I'm going to do over for Mahomes. So I do think there's a chance of a blowout, and I do think that if there is a blowout, it's going to be the Chiefs blowing out the Buccaneers. I in all the ways I think of it, unless like Mahomes goes down early and it's Chad Henne in the game, then everything's screwed anyway. So I'm just not going to care. I'm going to do over for Mahomes, under for Brady. So plus 70 or 70 for Mahomes through 25.5, over 30 for Brady, under 295.5. What are you thinking?
So I was thinking a similar split. I think I'll do 75-25. 75 Mahomes, 25 on Brady. But I'm going to take overs on both.
Okay, overs on both. Like I did under on Brady, slightly less on Mahomes. Okay. I mean, either of those, I think. I think we're both confident Mahomes will go over. Maybe you were the wiser one picking an over on Brady, but I don't.
But I took the over on Brady last time, and he missed by.
It's true.
9.5 yards.
I picked the over on Brady as well.
And the line on that one was low. I think he had to get fewer yards.
I think it was 289.5.
Yeah. So there's an expectation for more yards in this game. Yeah. But I'm still going to take the over.
Even though Chiefs have a good passing defense, so it's hard to say what. But if it depends on the circumstances, I think the weakness.
We may be throwing a lot in this game. So
the weakness of the Buccaneers, though, is their secondary.
Mm-hmm.
And defensive weaknesses, their secondary at least. And
Mahomes may have Watkins back as an additional weapon.
Having Watkins back, if he's back, that really opens up the offense even more. And also, they can't double Hill and Kelsey, and then Watkins can go free. I think, unless they get so far ahead early and then just run it. I like the Mahomes bet. Okay. Do we want to move on to bets specifically on Mahomes?
Let's do it
now. So $100 on Mahomes bets. I think there are a couple that we liked. We wanted to split among number of completions, which was 28.5.
Yes.
Over under 28.5, and then passer rating in the game over under 105.5. What do you like there?
So to me, that 105.5 is an awfully high number. Mahomes does tend to protect the ball pretty well, so like that isn't crazy, but it is a mistake or two mistakes. Could really make that an impossible to attain number.
One interception, maybe two for sure probably would.
Or if they end up with more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns, which you wouldn't necessarily expect, but maybe receivers get knocked out of bounds at the 1 yard line and they're end up punching it in on the ground instead of in through the air. That could keep that passer number down a bit too.
In the Super Bowl, let me just give this. In the Super Bowl last year, Mahomes' rating was 78.1. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
So he did not have a great game until the fourth quarter, right?
Yes, but Mahomes has played in 7 career playoff games. He's 6-1. His first game against Indianapolis, 85.2 rating. He had no touchdown passes, no interceptions that game. Against New England in the AFC Championship game, 117 rating in the loss. In the first first game against Houston last year, 134.6 rating. Against Tennessee in the AFC Championship, 120.4. In the Cleveland game where he was knocked out early, 106.9. He only had 1 touchdown pass, which hurt him there. In the Buffalo game, it was 127.6. So if he's for 105.5, he is 5 games over, 2 games under that number in the playoffs.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to go pretty heavy split on this one again. 75-25 again. I'm going to put 75 on the completions because I don't trust the passer number as much. So I'm going to go 75 on the over on the completions, and maybe a tad bit of a hedge on this anyway. I'll do 25 on the passer rating, but on the under on that one.
Ooh, interesting. He might throw a pick or not as many touchdowns as your guess. Anyway, interesting.
I think he'll be throwing a lot, but yeah, maybe his numbers won't be quite as inflated.
I am thinking a little bit differently on this one from you, which is nice because we'll have a little bit of disagreement, as some viewers have said we don't disagree enough. I'm more confident on the passer rating over because, well, if you throw again, I don't think. I think when he's on, he usually plays really well in the playoffs, and I think the San Francisco game was very unusual. That might have been one of the worst games Mahomes has played. Maybe outside of the Miami game this year, he did not play a very good game when he threw 3 interceptions. But and I don't think the Tampa Bay secondary is that good. Although there is, the offensive line issues that the Chiefs are having. Both starting tackles are out. 4 out of the 5 linemen from the Super Bowl are gone right now, whether it's opting out or catastrophic injuries. And also, I wonder if, in the first game, he was the first game against Tampa, he was 37 of 49. So he was way over. But he also had so many yards, and you think, well, maybe if you have a lot of big plays, you won't have that many completions. But I still do like that over on the completions, probably. I also like the over on the passing rating. But the maybe the one interception could cost him. But I don't. I'm going to say he's over on. I'm going to say over on both. I'm going to say, let me split it 60-40. 60 on over passer rating, 40 on over completions.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah, could come back to bite me, but I will be extremely happy if it gets.
Everything could come back. You don't know. It could be a late score.
Even our lock of the week, the Kansas City covering the spread.
Isn't a guarantee. Nothing. Yeah.
Should be a disclaimer on the bottom of our screen.
Yes.
Luck is not a guarantee.
All right. Should we move on to our what? We have a few bets here in this team
statistics, total team statistics. Yeah.
Again, $100 fake dollars split between over-unders of one defensive statistic, one offensive statistic. The total sacks in the game, over-under 4.5 combined between the two teams, and over-under of 799.5 net offensive yards.
Yes.
What are you thinking on this?
Well, I'm going back to the stats in the first Chiefs Buccaneers game. The Chiefs had 543 total yards. The Buccaneers had 417, and so that's 960 total. That's well over the 799.5.
Yes.
I like the over on that one.
Wow.
The Chiefs, of course, have some holes in the offensive line right now. I think the Chiefs' defensive line and the defensive backfield are both playing very well and getting sacks in games. We had especially with people like Tyrann Mathieu blitzing from the corner, or Frank Clark got 2 sacks against Josh Allen. So they're sacking increasing at a higher rate than they were in the regular season. I think also with the Chiefs' offensive line problems, you think Jason Pierre-Paul or Shaq Barrett might get a couple of sacks. They're hoping for many more sacks on their side to limit the Chiefs. So 4.5 for the sacks. They're hoping for the over. In the first game that the Chiefs played against them, though, the Chiefs Chiefs were sacked twice by Tampa. One of those was a strip sack of Mahomes by Shaq Barrett. The Chiefs only sacked Tom Brady one time, so that was 3. So that would have been under in that game. So I'm not again, this is just one game sample size. I'm not as confident about the sacks over under. I could see a lot of sacks in the game. I could also see, few, I could see the Chiefs not getting sacked at all, but the Chiefs sacking Brady 2 or 3 times. I could see the other. I think Brady goes down at least a couple times. Mahomes is so shifty, but maybe a couple of those plays, Mahomes runs for a 0-yard gain, and that's considered a sack. So that's I'm not that confident either way. Since we have to bet on both of these for the rules here. So I'm going to bet the over for total yards, 799.5 as plus as $75. I'll put $75 on the over total yards because I think the Chiefs will approach 500 yards, and I think. Well,
that means that Tampa only has to be around 300, so which isn't crazy, even if they don't play well.
Yeah. So I think over. I like the over there, and the sacks. I'm gonna take the under on the sacks, 25. Yeah. So these are bets we're making. Are bets that since we agreed to these bets, we probably wouldn't be making on our own. Maybe you like the sacks number or the total yards number by itself, but just as this exercise, I probably wouldn't. I don't know if I do either. I do like the Chiefs spread number. That's the one that I would really hammer, and maybe some of these other ones here and there. But yeah, I think so. Total yards over 75, 79.5 with $75, and then the 25 on the sacks. How about you?
I like this set specifically because I thought we would be very different on this one, and we are. So I'm much less confident in the total yards for some reason. I don't know why. That number just seems really big to me for the total, but not unattainable by any means. But it does seem like a lot of yards. And they were like you said, they were way over in their first meeting, and I don't know, for some reason, but I'm not confident on either side of this. And like you mentioned too, with the Chiefs' deficiencies at the offensive line, there may be an extra sack or two come out of the Tampa defense. I think the Chiefs are going to be coming after Brady a lot again, like they did in the first game. They blitzed excessively. They just didn't get him all that many times. So I think, and not being super confident on either side of this, I'm going to split the bet right on the middle.
Okay.
50-50. But I'm going to do the opposite of you on both of the bets, though. So I'll take the over on the sacks and the under on the yards.
While you were thinking about that, I decided to look at the stats from Super Bowl 54 when the Chiefs beat the 49ers. The total yards in that game, Chiefs had 397, San Francisco 351. So that would be 748 total yards. So that would be under. Sacks. The Chiefs sacked Jimmy Garoppolo 4 times. The 49ers vaunted defensive line sacked Mahomes 1 time, but that pushed them over to 5.
Yeah.
So that would be you're if things repeat themselves, you would be right on both of those bets for Super Bowl 55. So I think it's reasonable.
I'd be okay with that, as long as the outcome's the same,
Yeah, I also think the Chiefs are gonna. Well, I also don't think Mahomes is gonna throw 2 interceptions. I think the Chiefs are gonna have more yards. Because I don't think Tampa Bay's defense is as good, but they are maybe sack heavy, so it's hard to say. Okay.
Now I think we're gonna move on to a few specific bets on Tyreek Hill.
On Tyreek Hill, yeah.
So we have what, two bets on this again? Is that right?
Yeah, 2 bets on this, and then there might be some other ones we'll think about with Tyreek Hill at the end if we want some miscellaneous props. Yeah.
Well, I guess this is your setup though, right?
You want me to set it? Yeah, it's my setup. I guess. Yes.
I did the last one.
We need to be above board in these.
We don't want to flip the order that we're answering these, so nobody gets ahead. Or gets advantage.
So I answer the first one.
Second,
you introduce, I answer first, then you answer second. Okay. Yeah. So I'm introducing these. So Tyreek Hill is over under right now on his. These are on individual reception yardage. There are some other ones where you can get total receptions by Hill that vary. Different books, 6.5, 7.5, depending on where you're looking. But one we thought was interesting, and maybe one that we're probably going to both bet the same way, was over under 27.5 yards for Tyreek Hill's longest reception of the game. And then we could also make a bet on Tyreek Hill's first reception of the game being over under 12.5 yards, which I think is really interesting. I think one is more likely to happen than the other. But I'm not sure what you think of it, Andrew. So you have over under 27.5 for his longest reception, over under 12.5 for his first reception.
So yeah, one of the most explosive players I've ever seen ever, in probably any sport really, but especially at the wide receiver position. Anytime he touches the ball could be, the length of the field, no matter what. How about that play he had in the conference championship game, where he turned basically a nothing play into 71 yard reception,
like 10-yard pass into 71 yards or something like that. Yeah.
That can happen on almost anytime he touches the ball, essentially.
And think of the game he had against Tampa Bay earlier in the year when he had 13 receptions, 269 yards, and a lot of those were big plays. I think he had
in the first quarter even too, right? So
I think he had at least 3 catches that would be over 27.5 yards in that game. Maybe 4. So
I think I like I guess also the Chiefs tend to open games by doing sometimes a very short kind of like wide receiver screen or one of those sort of like touch passes, like just barely forward to either Hill or McCole Hardman. And those can turn into big yards, or they could get kind of stuffed early too. So that 12.5 first reception is interesting and probably much less predictable as to what you guess. You get a lot more chances with the longest reception, especially if he has 8 to 10 or more receptions. Then all of those have a chance to go over the 27.5. I'm more likely to bet high on that one. So I'm going to put 75 on the over for his longest reception, 27.5 yards, and 25 also on the over for the 12.5 yard first reception.
Yeah,
are you going to say the exact same thing?
I was thinking that. Yeah, I thought 27.5 over for Hill's longest. I thought that was a shut up and take my money kind of bet. I'm going to hand you that all day, because I think like as you said, a 5-yard game for another person can be a 30-yard game, 50-yard game for Tyreek Hill, and I think he gets at least one of those. That over under 12.5 though for the first pass, lots of times he might get a little outlet pass for 6 yards, 8 yards, but sometimes it turns into 15, 20, 30 yards. So that's, as I said, it's much more unpredictable. So I'm going to do 75 on the over 27.5. And I could see him lining up deep, like against Buffalo. They threw it deep to Hill the first time, and he dropped what would have been like a 40-yard.
That wouldn't matter on this, right?
Yeah, but had he caught it,
yeah, but it has to be a completion though. Yeah, if he caught it.
But had he caught that, that would have been over for both.
Right.
So you
on the same play, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the same play, and you'd be sitting pretty the rest of the game.
And what wasn't his first reception against Tampa the first game? Wasn't that one of those bombs?
I think so too. It was an early one, yeah. But just to be different, I'm going to do under for his 12.5 for the first reception. I think maybe that'll just be a little like a like a play that Kelsey might get. Sometimes he'll just to get him the ball and get rolling. I could see that as under.
But a lot of times even those can turn into
I know
20-yard gains. So
I don't. Yeah, I would do 100 on over 27.5 if I could.
Right.
But I also want to maybe catch up with you or be a little different from you on the first one. So so basically, you're calling over on 12.5 just made me call under. So that's the only reason I'm doing it. Again, that's a coin. That's a pure coin flip for me.
Right.
Again,
but it's something that we'll have an outcome very early in the game, hopefully.
Yeah. If I were doing it myself,
who's winning on that one?
I would avoid it, or I would do the over because I want to see it happen as an over.
Right.
Or
if you're betting actual money.
Yeah, if I were betting actual money, I wouldn't bet it. I might bet the over 27.5 if I had $100 to bet. So only over 27.5, $75. Is do under 12.5, $25 because Hill does catch a lot of short passes. Hill's stats. Let me just look up his stats. So in the last Super Bowl, he had 9 catches for 105 yards. So that would be on average under 12.5. And in this season, he's averaging 14.7 yards per catch. He's also averaging 16.6 yards per catch in the postseason. But that doesn't tell us the numbers of individual catches. I would say on average, his catches are under 12.5 because he gets 71 here. That really inflates.
Yeah,
it's like a running back, and their carries. They might average 4-5 yards a carry, but more often than not, they get 2 yards a carry.
So the standard deviations are high.
Yeah.
Averages
so
are.
I'll do under 12.5 for $25 and over 20. Again, mainly just to be different, but also I can reason myself into it if I have to.
Well, it's always better to put more on the thing that you think is more likely to happen too, right? So
and
protect. Use your riskier bet with less money, though, right?
Yeah, and it's we have, as you said, we have so many more opportunities to cash on the over 27.5. So even if you think he's going to get 6, 7, 8 receptions probably at a minimum, and one of those is going to spring. I would think it's either going to be a deep ball or he's going to just run it.
Well, no, and they'll keep trying for those too. Like they'll take a shot downfield at least a few times. Even if they're not playing well, they're still going to take shots.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
that's right.
That opportunity is still going to be there. So our next set is one that we did in the conference championship round as well. Is the anytime touchdown scores by Chiefs players.
Anytime touchdown scores. Are we looking? We were looking at this before with different ones that both William Hill and
DraftKings.
Do we want to look for the best lines, or do we want to use one particular book?
I've got DraftKings written down. We can change them though if you.
Okay, I have both of them. I'm gonna look at Okay, so you'll do these first. Wait, I'll do these first actually.
You're doing these first, yeah.
You introduce. Okay, so.
So I mean, I can run through the lines that I have down if you wanna.
Okay.
Look at the other ones if you wanna like change them.
Yeah, I'll look at William Hill.
So here's the ones that I have written down at least anyway. Are Kelsey and Hill are both minus 175. Edwards-Helaire plus 150.
Okay, so let me just.
Gerald Williams.
Okay, on William Hill, Tyreek and Kelsey are both minus 162. Edwards-Helaire is plus 175. Gerald Williams plus 200.
Okay. Why don't we just go with? Should we pick William Hill's then?
It looks like William Hill is offering more.
Yeah. All right. So let's just go with the. Okay. So Edwards-Helaire is 175.
Edwards-Helaire is 175. Darrell Williams plus 200.
200.
Mecole Hardman plus 225.
That's basically the same.
Mahomes plus 230. Sammy Watkins is plus 275. Le'Veon Bell and Demarcus Robinson each plus 350. Byron Pringle plus 500. One you might be interested in, Chiefs defense / special teams plus 550. That's one of the few that's higher than it was.
Yeah.
Nick Keiser plus 1,600. Garrick Dieter plus 2,000. I don't see him getting in the game. Anthony Sherman plus 2,000. Was that the same as it was last time?
I
mean, it was plus 1,600 last time.
I think it was 1,600. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was.
Ricky Seals Jones plus 2,000. Marcus Kemp plus 2,000. Darwin Thompson plus 2,000. I think maybe DraftKings had another player in there as well. Any of the Chiefs players plus 2,500 at DraftKings. Pringle's plus 3,000. Wait, no.
No, he said he was plus 500.
No, wait. It's any of the Chiefs players plus 325 to score, and then Pringle is plus 400. So yeah, it's like all the numbers are better at William Hill.
Okay, we'll go with that.
So we'd be going to William Hill. I think many of the Vegas casinos right now are owned by William Hill.
Okay.
The sports books anyway. They've been buying out a lot of them. Do you have so what? So it's my.
So you're up first on this one. So I don't know. Do you want to pick one and then we'll alternate, or do you want to pick all?
I'm gonna pick. Let's pick one and alternate like we did before.
Okay.
So we have $100 in here. I think I'm gonna scatter my money, kind of like I did, and we both did against the Bills. I think neither of us thought that Hill and Kelsey were gonna be so dominant that game, but I like.
We also tend to not like taking the negative.
No, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think
we both want these to like pay off and not.
Yeah, I wanted to pay off. I kind of like the idea of the kind of lottery tickets here. I think I'm going to split it 4 ways like I did last time. Are you going to split it 4 ways, or are you thinking you're going to?
I will split it 4 ways also. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do the SCAF special. I like the defense special teams plus 550. That's because it's a better. I didn't mind I didn't pick it last time, but I didn't mind that number plus 450. But I really like the plus 550, and especially a punt return, kickoff return, interception return, touchdown, sack, fumble recovery, touchdown, something like that. I think is a plus 550. The Chiefs have at least I think 3 or 4 defensive touchdowns this year, so that those odds are I don't think terrible. So that's what I would. I like that one first.
I think maybe I'll pick my flyer first. I still like the Anthony Sherman one for some reason. I just enjoy that one. I would like to see them run a play like that in the Super Bowl, which Tampa should not expect.
I like that one too, actually, but I don't think I'm going to pick it. But I like that you're sticking with it.
It's only $25 fake dollars, so.
Plus 550. I also like. Well, I picked Pringle last time. I'm gonna pick him again. Pringle's plus 500. I like him as I read an article recently where Tyreek Hill is lobbying for more playing time for Pringle. So maybe he gets in it. Again, he's also somebody who could maybe return a kickoff for a touchdown. He's got some of that maybe special team double working for him, but he also I think could catch a touchdown pass, especially maybe near the goal line if Mahomes does sort of his improvisation and one kind of random person gets open. I like Pringle as plus 500 as my second one for $25. So that would be 125 return.
Yeah. Not a bad return for it.
Yeah, 135 return would be.
You're already making money on this whole set if that one pays off, right? So, so I think we sort of mentioned this already with the Kelsey Hill. I don't think we don't tend to like those because they're, the negative odds anyway. And I know Edwards-Helaire and Williams may split time carrying the ball, so one of them might get a touchdown, but I don't know which one it is. I was going to get it, so I'm not sure that I want to bet either of the running backs or Le'Veon Bell either, because I'm not sure if he's going to play.
Yeah.
But I still like. I may end up with the same picks I had last time. I think McCole Hardman is always a solid choice because you never know when he can break one off. So I think I'll go back to that well, and he did pay off last time for us.
Okay, McCole Hardman plus 225. I don't think that's a bad one. DeMarcus Robinson's plus 350, but again, he's on the COVID list because of that haircut. We don't know if he's going to be available.
They said he has enough time to get enough negative tests in to play.
He does.
But they won't know until probably the day of.
Yeah.
If he's cleared to play or not.
One of the Flyers also we mentioned was Darwin Thompson plus 2,000, which I think is interesting. This is one of those.
With Edwards-Helaire back.
Yeah.
Thompson may not even make it into the game.
He might not even suit up. So that's I'm thinking that might. I'm gonna pick maybe you picked Hardman. I'm gonna do Patrick Mahomes because I think he's healthy again. I think he might scramble and score a touchdown. Super Bowl, leave it all on the line. Mahomes is plus 230. So I think Mahomes might have a rushing touchdown.
If you did not pick that one, I was going to pick it late. So
well, you can still pick it.
I know they've still been very questionable about whether Sammy Watkins is going to make it into the game or not. Early in the week, it sounded like they were confident he was going to play. More recently, it sounded like maybe he may not be playing. We can't tell for sure. He's just still hopeful that he may be able to play. I think I'll say that he will play and that he will get worked into the game more and will get a touchdown. I'll take Sammy Watkins. Was it plus 275?
Plus 275 for Watkins.
Yeah.
I thought about that one as well. I think we might do I might just do 4 different ones from you, depending on what you pick last. I'm thinking one of the Chiefs running backs. I don't know which one I will pick. I also, for some reason, I had a weird fascination with Nick Keiser plus 1,600. Although I heard Deion Yelder might come back, so that might impact Keiser as the backup tight end. Ricky Seals-Jones, Marcus Kemp. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go Le'Veon Bell plus 350.
Oh.
Because I think any of the Chiefs running backs could score a touchdown. I think they might try to again. I think maybe Reed maybe feels bad about not getting LaShawn McCoy in the game last year. McCoy, of course, is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, and he might have a similar fate as to last year because he's got Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette in front of him. So I could see, and also Antonio Brown is on the other side against, as a former Steeler, kind of malcontent. Although I think Brown had many more problems than Bell did. Bell just wanted more money, and Brown has all sorts of other issues. So maybe there's a little added motivation. Bell also scored a touchdown against the Buccaneers in the regular season. Wasn't that, or was that against the Saints? It was against the Saints. Was he had the option pitch? I can't remember what game that was.
Oh, right, the pitch that was several yards past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, the kind of cool option run.
Yeah, that was later in the season.
I can't remember if that was. I think maybe that was against the Saints. I was thinking it was against. But I think they only scored 3 touchdowns against Tampa.
Yeah, it must have been against the Saints. Yeah,
I don't think Bucker missed any extra points. But so I'm going to say Le'Veon Bell plus 350 as my 4th.
And then I will make one pick that is the same, and it's that same kind of strategy of the doubling up on the possibilities anyway, like that there could be a punt return by McCole Hardman that would double count then, if that is a possibility of the thing that can happen anyway. So I will go with the Chiefs defense and cover up that bet that you have on that one too, to make sure that you can't run away with something there if the Chiefs defense pays off.
Okay, I think those are all solid bets. We'll hope the Chiefs score a lot of touchdowns and multiple ones cash for us. on those. And yeah, you feel yeah, I don't feel quite as confident as I did last, because I thought the Hardman one was high, and I think we both thought the Darrell Williams one was pretty high as well. That seems like, and now with Williams coming back, and coming back, the odds are kind of sinking back to earth. Plus the added probably bonus of probably Bell likely playing, and also Edwards-Helaire being another week recovered from his injury.
2 weeks more recovered, right?
Yeah, he still has a chance though. But I like, yeah. I also like, yeah. I if this had been, Mahomes had a rushing touchdown against Cleveland. If he hadn't had that kind of neck concussion injury, I think Mahomes, that would be a very good bet. But I think the numbers would probably be lower. So on Mahomes plus 230. So anyway, I think we each have these are fun. Essentially, we're not betting real money. So
right.
we have a good I think we have a good shot of at least breaking even or close to it. Okay. We also have our next round of betting is what we might call administrative bets, prop bets. Not really bets that are related to any team's performance, but ones related to following the rules or not following the rules, or at least the way the game is called.
Or officiating, right?
Officiating, yeah, I suppose, and things slightly related to the officiating. So, do we want? How much did we want to divide on this? We have 4 possible bets. We want to do 200.
Let's stick with just 100 on this, because we'll have 200 left for the random bet.
And we can splash it in a variety of these 4. So 100 across 4.
But maybe we don't have to bet on all 4, though.
We don't have to bet on all 4.
You can pick which of the 4 or more of them, however you want to bet.
Okay.
Minimum, still stick with the minimum $25 though.
Okay, so we have let's start with penalties. Chiefs plus or minus 5.5 penalties, over under 5.5 penalties. Of course, in the playoffs, they call fewer penalties, it seems like, than in the regular season. In the opening game, the Chiefs Buccaneers, the Chiefs had 10 penalties for 82 yards. Buccaneers had 8 penalties for 57 yards. So they went over for each of them. We weren't worrying about the Buccaneers, but there were 10 penalties called on the Chiefs. Usually, they're about, if you have 10 on one team, you're going to have around that number on the other team, just because they want to kind of have it even usually.
Unless somebody's playing excessively aggressive.
Yeah. And so 5.5 over under, 53.5 penalty yards over under. These are, of course, accepted penalties by the Buccaneers. So, something that's declined isn't going to count. 53.5. So that's an average of
committed by the Chiefs, accepted by Tampa, right?
Yes, admitted by the Chiefs, accepted by Tampa. 53.5 yards. That's slightly less than 10 yards per penalty. Again, depending on how many different types of penalties there are. There's a lot of 5-yard varieties. Holding is about the only 10. Offensive holding is about the only 10-yard variety. There are lots of 15s, personal fouls, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the kind of, who knows what number of yardage penalties when we have pass interference or intentional grounding or things like that can be
big yard
a variety of things. And so those defensive
penalties.
penalties, anyway. Defensive holding, can be 5 yards, but then it could be the same thing, but depending on how they call it, it could be 30 yards downfield or it could be a 5-yard penalty. So it's one of those.
If the ball's already left the quarterback's hand versus not,
and it's still a very judgmental call. So, plus or minus 53.5 yards, plus or minus 5.5 penalties. 2 other ones that we wanted to do was the coach's challenge. The first coach's challenge was either going to be overruled or how do they put this? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember what.
Is it the coach was overruled or is the play upheld? It could be.
Let's see if I can find that one again. What was the other one? Else if we can find that.
It was the 2-minute warning. I don't remember the numbers for that. One was it in the first. Was this the first half 2-minute warning, or is this the second half 2-minute warning?
They had both.
I think the first half 2-minute warning is a little funnier to think about because the game's not the game's not really on the line. The first half 2-minute warning. Do you want to consider the first half 2-minute warning?
For some reason, I did that put something in the first half that like you kind of have to decide on, right?
Okay.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do first half 2-minute warning. I think the idea was, is the first half 2-minute warning going to be at 2 minutes exactly, or is it going to be under 2 minutes? 159.
Inside 2 minutes. Yeah.
You know, if it's a running play that takes too long, or a play that goes across the 2-minute warning rather than a countdown of the clock down to the 2-minute warning.
Okay, the 2-minute warning play clock occurs exactly. 2-minute warning occurs with exactly 2 minutes on the clock. Yes, minus 400. No, plus 295.
Okay. And that's the first half 2-minute warning?
That is the first half 2-minute warning, yes.
No, it's plus 295. I know what I like on that one.
And what was the other? The other one was the
coach's challenge.
First,
is it per team or is it in general?
So there's any ruling on the field overturned by coach's challenge. Yes. Plus 115. No, minus 143.
Okay. Do you want to do that one? Any coach's challenge? Any play overturned by replay review?
Yes.
Or does it have to be a coach's challenge replay?
Any coach's has to be coach's challenge.
Okay.
So coach's challenge overturns call.
And it's yes is plus 115.
Plus 115, yeah.
No is minus 143.
Yes. Correct.
What? No. Yes. Okay. So this is your turn to pick first.
Okay, so we have $100 again. It can split down to $25. You do not have to put money on. Well, you have to put money on at least one thing.
Yes.
Right, is all. I think I'm not going to put money on the number of penalties, but I will put money on the yardage. So I'm gonna put $50 on the over 53.5 yards.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you want to? Am I picking both, or all of my picks first, or are we alternating them?
Let's have you pick first, and then I'll.
Okay. I'll put $25 on the no 2-minute warning.
Okay.
The 2-minute warning being inside 2 minutes.
Yes. I wouldn't, but yeah, betting minus 400. I don't think there's a point of doing that.
Right. Yeah. So plus that. Yeah. Plus the 295 on that. And I will put $25 on the coach's challenge overturns. I'll call yes. So plus 115 on that.
Okay.
What do you think on this?
I have been waffling on this one. I like that 2-minute warning one. I'm going to do $50 on the no for 2-minute warning. I think that's a fun one. I think oftentimes it doesn't end exactly at 2. I think it seems to me, I don't know, maybe they've done the counts on these. It seems like to me it's about 50-50 whether it's on 2 minutes exactly or not. But maybe I just notice it more when it's not on 2 minutes. It's like, well, it's like when you look at a clock, you think, oh, it's more likely going to be 11:11 or it's going to be 1:23.
Right.
Think, oh, this is something, but it's just what you remember rather than the many times you look at a clock and it's 11:43 right now.
I think this sets up this weird scenario where like people are cheering for this thing, what the clock reads when it stops.
And that could come down simply to how quick the scorer is, or some sort of idiosyncrasy of the referee's decision or something like that. Because sometimes it doesn't seem like they make much sense. Because sometimes when they go out of bounds, they stop the clock. Sometimes they don't. And I know they're supposed to be consistent depending on how long it is, but I don't think they get it right every time. And just like they ended up in the Chiefs Bills game, they ended up going to New York for an official review of whether Josh Allen was out of bounds when he threw that incomplete pass. And that was a non-reviewable play, but New York, the rules committee reviewed it, and they said, let's stop it and review it anyway. It wasn't a coach's challenge. And so sometimes New York doesn't even know the rules because there's so many arcane things.
That's crazy.
So I like the 2-minute warning. I think I'm gonna stay away from the coach's challenge. I do think something might be overturned, but I think it might also be overturned in the last 2 minutes. I don't want to bet the no. I want -143, and it's gonna. So I did $25 -1. That's a tough calculation to make, and so let's go back to the penalties one. Plus or minus 5.5, plus or minus 53.5 yards. I am going to say. For the Chiefs' accepted penalties, plus or minus 5.5. I'm going to just do. Well, I'm going to split between penalties and yards. I'm going to do 20. I'm going to do plus 5.5. I think they're probably going to. I can see. I'm going to do over 5.5, $25. Over 53.5, $25. I don't know if that's the wisest thing, but I'm just going to.
I think it'd be harder to justify splitting them, and going opposite directions with it, unless you're just hedging on that. But
yeah. Then I would just do 100 on the no for the 2-minute warning. That would be the most fun.
Yeah.
But
and the odds are slightly better.
I think if one goes over, the other one's likely to go over. But I could see the yardage going over and the number below, or I could see it either way. I'm going to say just over, because I do think the Chiefs haven't been penalized very much in the playoffs, but I think maybe with the backup offensive line, they might get a couple of holding penalties. I think also people have been whining about the Chiefs' defensive coverage, and I could see them getting some holding penalties or things like that in the defensive backfield, and especially against Tom Brady, who seems to get a lot of calls. And so over. I'm not confident enough on the one compared to the other, so I'll just split the two. Again, I don't know if that's the wisest move, but that's what I'll do.
I think these are going to be pretty fun to watch during the game at least too. So,
so that means we've bet $800 on all of these bets so far. So we each have $200 left to bet on whatever silly little things we feel like betting on. I guess they could be silly or not silly. So we have so you want me to go? Maybe I'll go first with my. So we have $200. As we said, we have $25 to bet as our smallest bet on any of these things. Even though I think on some of them, especially some of those big MVP flyers, conceivably we might bet $10. If we were doing our own money, we might bet $10 or something. But I think just to keep 25, I think just for simplicity's sake, let's the $25.
Minimum. You can go more if you want to. But.
Yeah, it's the minimum. One of the ones that I kind of thought was funny was Tom Brady rushing yards, 0.5, over or under.
That is a great one.
Because you think it's under oftentimes because of kneel downs at the end. Of course, Brady is, famously, especially at this age, immobile. But he does like to do the quarterback sneak. And you might remember a couple of years ago in the Chiefs New England game at New England, Brady had like that 5 or 6 yard touchdown run when Breeland Speaks kind of wrapped him up, but then kind of didn't want to tackle him too hard because he thought he'd get a penalty or something.
Yeah.
Or whatever. The Breland Speaks, of course, is no longer on the. I think it wasn't it Speaks. He's no longer. That was the first. That was the Sunday night or Monday night game. The first time in Mahomes' rookie year, or his first year as a full-time starter. So he got several yards that game. And of course, that game ended in a field goal, so there wasn't a kneel down at the end. But there could be a kneel down at the end of the half, though. Even though I feel like the Chiefs are going to be winning, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of Brady kneel downs, which is the only way he would have rushing yards that are negative. Again, there aren't going to be too many.
He's unlikely to start running.
Yeah.
He might take a sack.
Most of those would be most of the times he gets tackled are going to be behind the line of scrimmage are going to be a sack.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could see you have a botched quarterback sneak or maybe I don't know, something
left handoff or something that he picks up and then decides to run.
But then that might also end up being a sack if they it depends on how that's scored.
Yeah.
At this point in his career, you think Brady knows how to hand the ball off pretty well. But of course, maybe a center exchange issue.
Could be.
But there's positive money to be gained by over 1/2 yard. I think it's plus 140 for over 1/2. So I'm gonna do $50 on over 1/2 rushing yards for Tom Brady.
Nice.
What is your first?
So I looked through the defensive player numbers, and one that stood out to me, I think that I was interested in is Okafor sacks of over under 0.5 is plus 350 though on the yes side of the half sack.
That's a big number.
So I think I'm going to put I think I will put 50 on that. Okafor half sack or more.
Plus or minus 0.5. I think that's a nice bet. I'm not going to do that since that was your.
And these are after scouring DraftKings enormous prop bet library. I believe is what you've done on this also, right?
Yeah, I've done that, and I've looked at a lot of. I like a kind of similar odds one. At least I saw this on William Hill. I don't know if you saw a different number on DraftKings. Will Tyrann Mathieu have an interception? The yes is plus 310. No is minus 380. I'm going to do $25 on yes for Tyrann Mathieu interception.
What was the odds on that?
Plus 310 is what I saw on William Hill.
Okay.
If it's higher on, I don't know if you see it on the. I don't know if there's another one on.
I can look and see if there's.
See if you can find a different one on DraftKings. I just couldn't find it on DraftKings. I didn't see the interceptions. I might have.
Interceptions by Matthew plus 300 on DraftKings.
Okay, so a little bit better on William Hill. So I'll do William Hill.
310. Okay, yes, go with that one. Okay, my next pick is, I think most of the rest of the picks I'm going to make are going to be yardage picks, over-unders.
Okay.
Because I picked Hardman earlier, there's like Hardman 28.5 receiving yards.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do 25 on that.
Over?
On the over.
Okay, so that means
8.5 receiving yards.
75 each.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, what's next on the list for you?
What's next on the list for me? I'm gonna do I'm gonna do one of the alternate lines.
Okay.
I'm going to do.
It's going to be like a Chiefs win by 14 points.
Yeah.
To get the big spread.
Chiefs minus 14.5 is plus 400.
Is that what you're going with?
I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to do
Minus 14.5.
I'm going to do 50 on that one.
$50.
So that makes me up to 125 of the 200. So $75 left.
What was the line in that was?
Plus 400.
Plus 400. Okay.
Minus 14.5.
All right.
Could have done minus 20.5 for 550. But
I'm gonna stick with the money that we're doing right now, and keep the dollars the same on a different bet.
Okay.
I did notice a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. For some reason, I like the receiving yards number. Was very low. It's only 15.5 yards. I will take the over on that.
Okay. Yeah, I think here we have so much of a chance of getting carried away and losing a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because we're this is what they want, because they want you to pick all these different things and dilute
them all.
any possible ones. If we had just bet the spread, I'd be feeling a lot better. But it's more fun this way, and it's not real money. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna do on MVP odds. Daniel Sorensen is plus 20,000 to win the MVP. I'm going to do $25 on him to win the MVP. I don't think any offensive player really other than Mahomes has a chance. And this is a flyer. It's only $25. Why not? It's not 25, not real dollars. If I could bet less, I would bet like a 5 or 10.
In real dollars, you'd probably do that though.
Yeah.
$5 bet, right?
Yeah. But since we have to bet, so that leaves me. Yeah. How many does that leave me? I did 50, 50.
That's 150.
150. So I have $50 more to bet.
Yeah.
I might do 225 bets left. Okay. And you have 75 left.
Yeah, and I was going to do a similar bet with an MVP pick as well. Also defensive player, because I think Mahomes or Brady are by far the most likely players to get the MVP of the game. If it's another offensive player that's on the list, I think it's probably more likely that the quarterbacks and they're going to end up taking it from them anyway. That's why I like the concept of picking a defensive player, and it's kind of a crapshoot as to which defensive player it might be. You went with Sorensen. I think I will take Tyrann Mathieu.
Okay, I think he's plus 4,000. I saw.
Yeah. Yes, plus 4,000.
Okay.
So we now each have $50 left.
Are you thinking of making one more bet or two more bets? I could go either way.
I can do either way too. It doesn't matter to me. Maybe just one.
Just one. Okay. I think this is a little bit of a safer bet, but it's not super exciting. No. I was thinking of $50 on Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill each to score touchdowns.
Oh.
That would be plus 160. But it's another touchdown bet. I don't know. Is that too?
No, dude.
I don't know. I'm thinking. I'm there's some. I'm trying to think if there's something else I could find. Do you have an idea of what you want to do?
I think I know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do a rushing yards one for my final pick. The rushing yards for Darrell Williams and Clyde Edwards-Helaire were both 30.5 yards. I think they could both do it. I think I'm going to pick Darrell Williams to go over 30.5.
Okay, for 50?
Yeah.
Okay. I got bogged down just recently while you're doing that into exact total Kansas City Chiefs points.
Was that going to do that instead?
No, I'm just saying what you could do. If the odds, this seems crazy, that the odds that the Chiefs score exactly 2 points is plus 500,000. Exactly 4 points is plus 500,000 as well, which seems crazy. If you're going to bet, it seems much less likely that the Chiefs will get exactly
Yeah.
4 points. That'll be 2 safeties. That would I don't know if there's been an NFL game where any team has scored exactly 4 points.
Yeah, but why? If it's the same odds, why would you pick 2 safeties instead of just 1 safety?
Well, you could think 2 is the one that's going to happen, right? And 4 is impossible. So why would you even bet 4? But if you're going to bet $1, I would say if you're going to bet $2, bet $1 on 2 and bet $1 on 4.
Right. No. Yes. Maybe what would be the point of betting on 2 safeties only?
It would be hilarious. But I don't
you don't get improved odds if there's only 1, though. Right? I mean,
it's plus 2,200 that the Chiefs will score 50 or more, which is an interesting one. I don't think that's going to happen. I think I'm going to go with I mean, this is maybe a little bit to hedge my touchdown bets. Hill and Kelsey together. Is plus 160. I see at William Hill. So I'll do $50 on Hill and Kelsey together to score each with at least 1 touchdown.
And these are receiving or rushing touchdowns, I assume.
I assume not passing.
Not passing. Yeah.
Because the Mahomes odds are much different with the pairs, so they aren't counting Mahomes touchdowns. So I assume that would be really weird if Travis Kelce had a passing touchdown and no. Although in the first game against Tampa Bay, he tried to throw a passing touchdown to Mahomes.
That's why I said that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think so. Plus 160. So $50 on Hill.
And they did both score touchdowns against Buffalo last game.
They did. And I don't know how many games this season they've each. Hill has 15 or 16 touchdowns this year. Kelsey has maybe 18 maybe including rushing. Hill might even have like 17 or 18 touchdowns. I think Kelsey had 11 touchdowns in the regular season. So I think it's not unlikely that they each will score a touchdown, especially in the big games when they're going to be looked at the most closely. So, and maybe I would say probably the odds are not as good as it would have gotten last week, but I think it seems like a lot of those odds on the touchdown scores were not as good as last week. So,
right.
But yeah, my alternative spread I'm interested in right now. So
that is an interesting
14.5 plus 400. So was that 50 I did on that one? I think
on alternative score.
Yeah.
Yes, $50 minus 14.5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think we've got a great portfolio of picks for this game. There's a lot of different things that can happen.
Yeah. I'm not gonna be able to keep track of all of them. I'm glad you typed them into your
on the screen. They'll be on the screen for the printed version of this.
Only they were on the screen while we were watching the game
right
on CBS with Tony Romo and Jim Nantz.
We'll have to get a PDF made and you laminate it. You can take it with you wherever you go.
Stick it in the front of your pants.
Use it to cover your calls during the game.
Yeah. And that's what we have to do. Yeah, I think we did a great job here. I think we're less likely to make money since we did so many bets this time. I think that we targeted them a little bit more. We'd be more likely to win, but who knows? We might come out on top. And even if the Chiefs lose, which I hope they don't, we still might win a few of these bets. Although I think many of them were hedged on. We're based on our idea that we think the Chiefs are the superior team and going to win. So let's hope it just snowballs and all of our dreams come true, and we become the Chiefs fans will become the new New England fans, the worst and the hated group.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that.
I don't think the Chiefs would ever be quite as bad as New England fans, but who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe Mahomes will be the new.
But we won't be the bandwagon fans. So we've always been with the team, being from the city anyway. So
we're from the city. We rooted for the Chiefs through many heartbreaking and sad losses, many rough
Many,
seasons.
many bad seasons. Yes.
Yes. So let's why don't we wrap this one up, and we'll reconvene after the Super Bowl to either lick our wounds or to rest on our laurels, whichever one happens. And we can also have a little bit of maybe one of us will likely do better than the other, so we can have a bit of a braggadocious exchange if needed.
So hopefully one of us will be counting a giant pile of fake money.
Yeah. With our green visors and our cigars.
Yes.
Just laughing all the way to the bank. Although that's not really the expression originally. Did you know that? It's the expression originally was crying all the way to the bank. This idea that you're sad that something bad happened to you, like you got hit by a car, but he's not real. He's crying all the way to the bank because he's getting all that money, and he's laughing afterwards. I read something about that. Was the original? He was crying all the way to the bank.
Interesting.
He's crying all the way to the bank. Like that kind of
sarcastic sounding, but
laughing all the way to the bank. Because if you were laughing on your way to the bank, the other person would know that something was up, and you wouldn't want to.
Right.
Do that, right? You would laugh after you deposit it. You'd laugh on your way from the bank, perhaps.
Yes.
Money's already in the bank. You can't take it back.
Nice.
Just one of many interesting tidbits that you learn here on the Warning Track Power Hour, and I'm sure there will be many more in our post Super Bowl extravaganza. We can't have too many extravaganzas on this.
That's not true, Mike. They can all be extravaganzas.
They'll just be vaganzas. They won't be extra. I've never seen just a vaganza, but if anyone can pull it off, I'm sure it's the Warning Track Power Hour. That being said, I am Mike Werman. He is Andrew Scaff. We are the Warning Track Power Hour. Please like and subscribe to our hopefully regularly updated YouTube channel here, and best of luck to your team in the Super Bowl, especially if that team happens to be the Kansas City Chiefs. How was that, Andrew?
It was great. That was great.
I think we really hit this one out of the park, to use a great football metaphor.
Perfect. Yes.